What is worth every penny? Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the video. A really comfortable desk chair. If it's something you're going to be sitting in 4 hours a day, spending a little extra on a chair is well worth it. If it separates you from the ground, spend the extra money on it. That is shoes, car, bed, chairs, planes, etc. Definitely agree with planes. Throw some extra money on a Gulfstream instead of a Poe single engine Cessna. Or you could buy an £11,000 Yak 40 from Ukraine and get a nice life insurance policy. Buying former Soviet aircraft is my insurance policy. Change car to tires. You can drive a wreck, but so long as you have good tires, and I guess brakes and suspension, you're safer. I'd add socks to the list as well. Good work boots. 2 pairs of good work boots. Alternate them. I accidentally wore one boot from 2 different pairs for 6 months. So now I have to keep wearing mismatched boots because of wear. They are both Under Armour, so the difference is minimal. That's the end of the story. No big finish. Was waiting for someone to get blown up. Look at Mr. Fancy for boots over here. Thank you. Boots. Blackout curtains for your bedroom. You don't realize how much light interferes with your sleep until you block out all the light. As someone who could sleep competitively, they're just too dangerous. Without the sun to rouse me, I'll easily sleep for 12 hours straight, through alarms, people talking to me, kids jumping on me, and, one time, an earthquake. Pair it with sunrise simulating lights. I use Hue light strip. It gradually gets brighter until max brightness at the time of my alarm. I used to have a thing that'd do the light, but also an alarm which steadily got louder. Mine was bird song. Initially soft bird song, then gradually louder. Often I'd wake up, not realizing it was the alarm clock that woke me. Alarm clocks that wake you abruptly are horrible in comparison. You want something that slowly wakes you up. Felt so refreshing. In high school, a classmate had difficulties waking up, and to find a sure way, and also a bit for fun, he relayed his alarm clock to a train horn under his bed. He said that the next morning, he just found himself awake standing outside his room screaming what the frick is going on in full panic and confusion. Had a friend that set their alarm to the T-Rex roar from Jurassic Park. They also woke up terrified, but it was extremely effective in waking them up. A braided charging cable, to replace the non-braided type. Also, a really long charging cable for when you're on the sofa, etc. I have a 3-meter charging cable and man, it is really worth it. No more tears. True. I didn't know a cable could stop me crying at night. Got flashbacks to Jumper Cable Guy for a second. I took a class on positive psychology as an elective a few years ago. I have used what I learned in that class practically every day since, through some very intense and upsetting times. I use what I learned in that class to help maintain my mental health during isolation, and for someone who struggles with severe depression, I've been doing a pretty damn good job. Not only was that class worth every penny, I think it should be taught in high school for free. I do find it weird how mental health is barely ever even mentioned at school. Then suddenly you find yourself in a world with all sorts of pressures and stresses and generally no idea of how to look after your mental state beyond having a stiff drink and trying to talk with friends, family. Can you refer some of the topics, principles if you can, for fellow depressed souls? Of course. One of the most valuable parts of that class is that we were given the opportunity to try multiple methods for decreasing stress and increasing happiness and resilience. I no longer have the list, but these are the ones I remember. Note, not all of these methods will work for all people. I recommend trying all of them and seeing which work best for you. And I'm not a professional, this is simply my personal opinion. Play exactly what you think it is. Video games, tennis or horse, Monopoly. Well, probably not Monopoly. But taking some time out of your day where you're allowed to simply play can help lots of people. Reframing. Write about an upsetting or stressful situation, experience. Now reframe it to focus on the positives in the situation. This obviously doesn't work for all situations, but it does for a lot. My reframing for this period of isolation was that even though I'm cut off from friends and in a living situation that stresses me out, I now have the time, opportunity to explore new hobbies. And I'll get to watch culture make a significant shift in real time. How cool is that? Gratitude. 5 days a week. List 5 things you're grateful for. Running car? Sweet. Favorite beer in the fridge? Nice. No one you know personally is sick with COVID? Write that sucker down. The idea is that when you're thinking about what you're grateful for, you're not thinking about the things that currently suck. And the more you do it, maybe the more often you catch yourself thinking those gratitudes to yourself outside of journaling. Flow state. I'm gonna recommend you Google this one for the best explanation, but it's basically when you get in the zone. I do Beat Saber for this. There are tons more coping skills, but I don't remember them all. Actually, I spotted a Coursera class called The Science of Wellbeing that looks really similar to what I learned. We also learned about growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and understanding the difference allowed me to get better at doing things I'm not good at without getting upset and hating myself. Now, I'm not perfect so it doesn't always work, but I'm a lot better at it than I was before. A good mattress. I bought an inexpensive foam mattress and I am experiencing tingling in my arms. Now I know why some mattresses are more expensive than others. What does the tingling mean? His arm is falling asleep while he sleeps. Isn't that better? Well, considering that tingling means either blood flow or a nerve is getting pinched which can cause long-term damage. I'll sleep with my arms awake thank you. Good pair of shoes. I took up running recently because you can do it without a gym, which is where I had previously done my workouts in the before times. I ran in sneakers for a while. Running shoes made the biggest difference in the world. I don't feel the high impact of the pavement anymore and my legs are never sore. And on the website where I bought them they had you do little exercises and observations of your walking to tell you which type of running shoes were best. The before times. I'ma start calling it that from here on out. Thanks. Was it Brooks? What website was it? Wooden hangers. I swear to God it's like living at Nordstrom's. And they last forever. I have used wooden hangers for years. Try the black felt hangers as well. Still looks classy, but the traction stops large opening shirts from sliding off. My wife likes the wood and I like the felt. We never have to worry about stealing each other's hangers. My wife likes the wood. PFFT. A trash receptacle with a foot pedal to open the lid. I had this freaking round garbage can with a spinny top thing that was annoying as hell. Upgraded to a motion activated door one from Costco and it's amazing. Yes. I was given this trash can for my birthday last year and I was all what the frick. Probably one of the best presents I've ever been given. I'm getting old. Laser printer. Especially one of the old ones. Those things were built like tanks. I've also heard stories from satisfied customers of mid-2000s laserjets who have owned them for 15 years and have never once had to change the toner. Those things were built like tanks. I invaded Poland using nothing but an HP LaserJet M255DW and a bucket full of Moxie. I have an older LaserJet 5200. Does up to tabloid size paper and double-sided with the duplexer. Toner lasts for something like 15,000 pages. Paying more in rent to live without roommates. I own my home, but my roommate is basically free money. He just quietly sits in his room and plays video games all the time. I run into him a couple times a week in the kitchen and remember he leaves here. Other than that basically the only evidence that he is here is his car in the driveway. My mum had this lodger in our house for years who lived in the relatively small room opposite me. Paid £200 a week to live there. He was allowed to use the kitchen and stuff, but never did. He didn't want any social interaction. A very shy Finn. We managed to get him to have 2 meals with us over like 4 years. It's so strange. He lived off takeaways as he never used the kitchen. But there was rarely even any evidence of the takeaways. Sometimes we heard him answer the door for them, but they never stunk out the house, room. We'd just sometimes see food boxes in the trash. On occasion he was in the toilet when I wanted it. but that was the biggest inconvenience. He would stay up super late. You could see the light on in his room at like 3 AM on a weeknight, but never heard shit from his room. He was like a ghost. My mum just got cash from him deposited on the table every week and that was that. Personally, I think he was getting ripped off, but he really liked the place for some reason. Even paid half rent to keep the room available for him when he would go home for a few months. He's now gone back to Finland, but I'm sure my mum's wallet misses him. Upvoted for that last sentence. I was expecting I'm sure mum's missing him. Sounds like a typical Finn to me really. Having a lodger pay your mortgage is an underutilized option for most first home buyers. A good chef knife. I've been using mine for about 4 years now and it still keeps its edge. May cost $200, but it's worth it, instead of having to buy one every year. Victorinox Fabrics is nothing to sneeze at. $32.90 for an 8-inch chef's on Amazon right now. That, plus a sharpening stone and a few tutorials is all anyone needs for a razor sharp kitchen knife that will last many years. Came here to say this. I bought one after much research and love it. It's my daily driver and I would not want any other knife to replace it for its style and shape. Do I want more exclusive knives too? Certainly, but then I want a delicate carbon blade or something specific. I would not replace my Victorinox. Get one. Totally agree. I've gathered 3 global knives over the past decade or so and would buy more, but I genuinely have no need. They remain amazing and I have no reason for other knives.